Hello everyone, and I hope you all had a wonderful Christmas if you celebrate it. If not, still hope you had a wonderful day. So today I'm going to go over how our family got through the COVID crisis with two kids with disabilities. It was very difficult, very challenging, very different than when you have two healthy children at home, obviously. When you're dealing with a pandemic, especially something like COVID, and you have a child that is on dialysis, it's very difficult to manage, especially when you're constantly worried or afraid that you can get COVID and pass it on to someone that is on dialysis, which is very highly dangerous. So hello for those of you guys that are new to my channel. Welcome back for those of you guys that are seasoned subscribers. On Mondays I do videos all about fashion, accessories, just stuff that I enjoy doing to keep my mind off of the second half of the week videos, which are all about TSC and FSGS, two diseases that both of my daughters have. One being TSC, or tuberous sclerosis complex, which is tubers that grow throughout any major organ throughout your body. And then with the FSGS, it's a form of kidney disease that causes damage to the glomeruli, which can lead to heavy protein loss, eventually to kidney failure, dialysis, then obviously next course of action would be transplant if you are eligible. So if you're interested in either or, please hit the subscribe button and hit the little bell so you can be notified on all of my latest videos. And please don't forget to hit that like button and comment below. Let me know what you think about today's video or any input that you might have. Feel free to share so that I can get to know you and you can get to know me, or if you have any questions that you're interested in or interested in getting some information on. So let's get started. So I think a big part of the pandemic for our family was just making sure our overall goal obviously was to make sure that none of us got it, but the main one was for our two daughters not to get it, especially Amber, which was, you know, she was undergoing dialysis, so it was pretty scary throughout that whole ordeal. What we ended up doing, which was very fortunate for us, we had thought about it way before, and we ended up actually saying, hey, this might be a really good option, not knowing that the pandemic was coming. We ended up putting a Remy Halo in a duct purifier. It's a duct purifier, right? So what it does is pretty much it reduces like all the nasty stuff that goes in through the actual AC unit. This was a great way. It's almost like an ionized hydrogen peroxide. So it really, let's put it like that, it really kills a lot of the germs in the air, which I truly believe was what got us through that entire pandemic without actually getting COVID. Now, for us as a family, it was really important for us to make sure that we all got vaccinated. It was mandated, having two girls with disabilities, especially, you know, on both of them having some form of kidney issues. So we definitely had to make sure that they didn't get sick, especially my oldest daughter, again, because she was on dialysis at that point. I think the biggest struggles throughout the entire pandemic is just making sure that we're very cautious of who we could be around. Obviously during that time, towards the end of 2020, we were supposed to actually, which fun fact, 2019, I was actually preparing our wedding for 2020. So yeah, that unfortunately got pushed back another year. So we had to hold off and push it out to 2021. And even with that, we had at least, I think it was like 6 air purifiers. We had the entire event location sprayed down. We actually paid hundreds of dollars extra to have the whole entire unit sprayed down. So we took so many precautions, and we had a lot less people at our wedding reception, just because of that, obviously, because COVID was still around, and we had to again keep our daughters healthy. That was our focus. So what's going on in 2020? My daughter was actually transitioning to PD dialysis. If you've heard about one of our other unfortunate incidents that occurred with my daughter when she did end up going on PD dialysis, which is at home dialysis, where you would have to do it all night every day for the entire week. She ended up getting really, really sick. She actually got worse during that time. So it was really difficult trying to manage the whole pandemic with your kid, just trying to transition to PD to keep her home, obviously to keep her a lot safer at home. So it was scary because during that time she was still, obviously she was in the hospital, so she would have to drive herself to Tampa for dialysis, and she was actually going to Kaiser, working on the weekends. So all of that started to change a little bit, where they were no longer to go in person to school. So that was transitioning her back home. We were trying to get her on PD dialysis so we can transition her fully at home. So a little bit of everything started to kind of like transition. During the entire time of the transition, our focus was just getting her kidney. So 2020 was absolutely insane, where she's driving to Tampa, she's going to school, she's working on the weekend. So it was a little bit of everything. And then all of a sudden this pandemic hits and everything's like comes to a complete halt. Myself, my husband, my youngest daughter, my oldest daughter, we all had to get the COVID vaccine to keep them safe. My parents, because obviously they're elderly, they had to get it so that, because they were constantly around my daughters, they were helping us out, my grandmother as well. So it was just a family affair of COVID vaccines, because we did have a couple of family members that ended up getting COVID, and my parents were over there. We were very fortunate where my parents didn't get sick, because they did get the vaccine that did help them fight off the actual let's just put it like this, they were very lucky. You know, they could have gotten really, really sick, and they could have gotten my oldest daughter really sick too, because she was with them as well. So there was a couple of incidents that we definitely they actually took some risk, put our oldest daughter at risk. I can laugh about it now because we did get through it without her getting sick. But this is stuff that, you know, you have to prepare yourself, and you have to be, unfortunately, you have to see things a little bit different when you have two kids that are disabled, undergoing this whole, or having to deal with this whole pandemic. It's because when you do have a loved one that is sick and is vulnerable, you do have to kind of take into consideration what kind of steps are you going to do to keep that person safe and healthy, right? So it is very different when you have two kids that are healthy. You don't really have to worry about, you know, your kid getting sick or getting COVID, because more than likely they're gonna blow right through it like nothing even happened, right? Because they have the immune system. When you're on dialysis, your immune system is literally like nothing. Someone could cough on you and you literally would get a flu. So it's really, really important to understand just the steps that parents with kids with disabilities, or, you know, parents with disabilities or so forth, just having to kind of be real cautious of, can I go here to get this, because I don't want to bring something home that can hurt my child. Because ultimately, if my daughter got COVID, it can, obviously, especially someone with an immune system that's compromised, can lead to hospital stay where they have severe respiratory issues. She was already struggling, you know, with the breathing, as I indicated before, where she would take a few steps and she would have a struggle just trying to take a deep breath. So COVID would have literally put her in the hospital, and not knowing exactly what could have happened from there was really scary to us. So like I said before, I think that the system that we purchased that was actually input into our AC unit really kept us battling this, or gave us an upper hand when it came to battling this epidemic. We were very fortunate because not a single one of us got sick. And we really, like, you know, just having all of us gotten the COVID shot, you know, having that Remy Halo system, or in the duct purifier, really kept us, I believe, really supported our health and kept us healthy throughout that time. It's a whole different world, obviously. You know, we have to wear masks outside in public, just because when you have kids that are vulnerable, it's just like a cancer patient, right? you have to see the world through the eyes of different people, right? You have to recognize the fact that though you may not need to wear a mask because you don't feel like it's going to be an issue for you if you get it. I had to wear a mask because if I brought something like COVID home, it could literally hurt my child. So every aspect of that disease, every aspect of the coronavirus was very dangerous for my family and for my kids. So we really took those extra steps of precaution to make sure that we kept them safe. Because if my youngest daughter has a high fever, that can lead to a really bad seizure. So it's a little bit of everything, right? So it's so highly important it scares me every time just thinking about, can we face another pandemic? How are we going to approach it? Is this something that can be extremely detrimental to either of my girls? So it's a little bit of everything, right? It is nerve-wracking to a point, but we also consider all the factors of how do we just kind of put two and two together, right? How can we keep our kids safe? Stay home, keep our Remy Halo intact, make sure that it's working properly, check our AC units, make sure that it's clean, it's ready to go. Should we, have to face something like that again, right? Make sure our girls are fully vaccinated, make sure that they're home, they stay away from any areas that might be something that can cause them to get sick, right? Like a highly public area that can cause them to bring home that virus, right? Keeping them a few days, a big factor for us was we had to keep them home from school, right? So especially my youngest, because if she brought something home, she can give it to her older sister, and then, she can have it. She can get a high fever, she can have a seizure, or my oldest daughter can have respiratory issues, and then now this is something that's escalated to a situation where we are facing something a lot more serious than just the coronavirus. So that's just a couple of things that we really did focus on. We definitely had to wear masks. We definitely had to get our shots. We definitely stood home a lot more than obviously than healthy families did. We kept our kids out of the area of potentially being able to catch it and bring it home to other people within our family. So there was a series of stuff that we definitely went the extra mile, and we were fortunate enough that none of us did get it, because it could have been really serious and really detrimental to our family. So though many families didn't have to do many of the things, I get it, but with our family, we really didn't have a choice. It was just stuff that we had to do, and the safety and well-being of our family came first. Just like, however else, you may have gone through it, especially if you have a healthy kid, which is great, I wish for that, right? One day to have, to be able to see our kids just live their lives without having to worry about dialysis or kidney transplant or a seizure. So I hope this was helpful. It's something I wanted to talk about before, because I know certain things are controversial, but just every family handles these type of scenarios different, right? They base it off of their comfort. Also, they base it off of how their actions or inactions could affect those that we love, right? So when it comes to a parent of a disabled child, my focus was, I have to make sure that my girls are okay. Nothing else mattered to me. I would clean the heck out of our house, our groceries. We made sure that our unit was working. Our Halo unit was working. We made sure that the girls' rooms were spotless, that they had their vaccinations. We had our vaccinations. So our family was really more geared towards what do we need to do to make sure and ensure that nothing happens where, my oldest daughter has such a low immune system, this can cripple her. So it's really, really important for us to look out for each other. Let's put it like that, right? So that's how we approached the pandemic, and how, as a mother of disabled kids, it just was my goal just to make sure that they were safe and they were okay and they were able to get through this. So you know, it's pretty crazy because during that time, my oldest daughter was, you know, she's transitioning to, she was transitioning to PD dialysis. She was transitioning, she was finishing her courses in college at Kaiser. She was working on the weekends, so it's a little chaotic too at the same time. So I'm just glad and very fortunate that we were able to get through that whole thing with very little to no major or critical issues. So I hope this video finds you well, let's put it like that. Thank you so much, guys, for taking the time out to check out my videos, and I really do truly appreciate you being a part of my, just being a part of my journey and my daughter's journey. I love talking about our experiences because I think that a lot of times people might be facing similar situations or scenarios, but they don't know where to look to or who to ask, or, you know, how was someone else's experience in these types of scenarios. So it's good to share. I enjoy sharing, and I think this is my ability to kind of get it out there and just enjoy some time just talking about it. Though it was a struggle, though it was difficult, though it was miserable, I know that many of us can kind of share in that input. COVID was a horrendous time of our lives, but we got through it. We got through it together, and thank goodness we're on the other side of it. So thank you again, guys, for taking the time out to check out my video. Please don't forget to subscribe to my channel and hit the little bell so you can be notified on all of my latest videos. And please don't forget to hit that like button and comment below. Let me know what you think, or how did you kind of face COVID, especially if you have some form of a disability or someone that you're caring for that has a disability. You know, feel free to share. I'd love to hear your story and your journey. So thank you again, guys, and please don't forget to focus through and evolve. Ciao.